Hello everyone and welcome back to the second episode of the Armistice miniseries. In this video we zoom in on the Battle of Verdun, which took place during almost all of the year 1916. The German Empire is executing its Schlieffen Plan and entered France after swiftly invading Belgium. The German race to the sea was stopped with the battles of the Yser, Ypres and the Marne, and is now in a trench stalemate. Now, the invasion force is looking for another spot to launch an attack that would inflict maximum amount of casualties on the French to bring them to their knees. Their eyes landed on Verdun because of its strategic location on higher grounds. The Germans also believed that the fall of Verdun would have a major negative impact on French morale because of its historical and cultural importance. General Philippe Pétain was the commanding officer in charge of the defense. On the 21st of February, the German forces attacked. In only 3 days, the fort Douaumont was entered and occupied without a fight. The French army had removed the defensive guns from the fort, deeming it unfit to withstand German heavy artillery, and left it almost undefended. Its only remaining defensive weapon, the 75mm retractable turret on top of the fort, was damaged by German artillery. A small German raiding party could easily approach the fort and take over. In May 1916, the French did their first attempt to recapture the fort. They entered the wing of the fort, but they had to retreat after heavy losses. With the second attempt on the 24th of October, 5 months later, the French succeeded to recapture the fort. Continuous shelling had made the German occupants evacuate. After the fall of Fort Douaumont in February, Fort Vaux was next on the 2nd of June 1916. The fort had survived many artillery barrages and the interior remained intact. Like with Fort Douaumont, the defensive guns were also removed and used elsewhere on the front, leaving only the 75mm turret for defense. Major Sylvain Eugène Raynal organized the defense of the fort. Under his command, many German assaults were repulsed, including underground close-quarter combat and from behind barricades in the fort's corridors. After running out of clean drinking water, ammunition and other supplies, the French garrison surrendered. Raynal and his soldiers remained in German captivity until the armistice of the 11th of November 1918. The fort was recaptured by the French infantry on the 2nd of November 1916 after an intense and continuous artillery bombardment like with Fort Douaumont. Also similar to Fort Douaumont, the fort was abandoned by the Germans, and the French could recapture it without a fight. After its recapture, Fort Vaux was repaired, garrisoned, and its water reserve was increased. During the Battle of Verdun, both sides continuously bombarded each other with artillery, causing many casualties on both sides. The German forces tried different infantry tactics to shut up the French guns, but shelling remained the most efficient way of killing each other. The Germans attacked Hill 304 and the heights of Le Morum, literally Dead Man's Hill, from which they potentially could destroy the French artillery batteries. In the end, there were nearly no substantial territorial gains on either side, although the Germans were only like 7 kilometers away from Verdun at the peak of their offensive. In May 1916, General Robert Nivelle took command of the Second Army at Verdun. In June, the Germans attacked and captured Fort Vaux, and near the end of June, German artillery fired over 116,000 phosgene gas shells on the French, which silenced many of the French artillery guns. This gave window of opportunity for the Germans to advance into the French lines closer and closer to the Verdun citadel. Nivelle ordered, "Ils ne passeront pas, do not let them pass." Other Allied offensives, like the Brusilov offensive and the Battle of the Somme, started, forcing German artillery away from the Verdun front. The Germans launched other gas attacks, but with little effect, since the French forces had been equipped with improved gas masks. They could not capture Fort Souville. In October, the French opened heavy artillery fire on Fort Douaumont and Fort Vaux, including shelling from 2 huge railroad guns. Conditions in the forts became insufferable and the Germans abandoned the forts and allowed the French to take them back without much trouble. In December, another French offensive started with days of shelling on the German positions. The German forces were understrength and collapsed by the pressure of the French, ending the Battle of Verdun. Over 11,000 German soldiers were taken prisoner of war. 143,000 German soldiers died. 163,000 French soldiers died, and many more were wounded and scarred for life. In the following Battlefield 1 gameplay video you can see through the eyes of a French defender in the fort. The Germans attack with overwhelming force and intense fighting takes place inside and around the fort.
A flame trooper kit is available near your location. We have lost the sector. Objective apples.
Quelqu'un a des munitions?
We are losing objective butter. The final objective.
Attention!
apples.
Up next is fighting for the hills near Verdun.
We have taken objective apples. We have taken objective Charlie. We have taken objective Butter. Return to the combat area. Lost objective Butter. We control all objectives.
Now the Central Powers are under attack on two fronts. The Battle of the Somme started on the Western Front, the Brusilov offensive started on the Eastern Front. Also on the Italian front the fighting continues, which we'll dive into in the next episode. We entered the year 1917 with the Battle of Caporetto. Hope you liked the video and see you then.